Hi everyone and welcome to Hollywood Hills once again. Can you believe it? I was just checking out the numbers with the lads. This is show number 46 of the season. Just to bring that into perspective, there are only 52 weeks in a year. So we have been flat out the whole way through. In fact, by the time we get to Christmas, it looks like we're going to miss the 50 marker by singles. It's going to be a 49 show, 21 championship. That's a huge story for us. And thank you to all of you guys for subscribing, for following us, and really allowing us to do what we love to do, which is bring you all of the racing action from all the amazing tours that we work with. So this week, it's finally time to wrap up with the Gxccs from their penultimate round in Verena, where we'll focus in on the support class before they go to the final round at Carltonville. There's going to be 3 inserts in the show. First part is going to be all about the Gxccs, and then join us after that as we bring you more information and how Cycleworks do that the CW way. That's going to be after this. This is Gxcc support from Verena. Verena gave incredible racing. The perfect combination of every single type of cross-country riding one could expect for the perfect landscape, just on the outskirts of Gauteng, just inside the borders of Mpumalanga. For all of the support classes and the wows, they would have a chance of ultimate riding. But on this day, all eyes were on the points on the plate as the championship was tightening up. On the OR1 Pro Ams, all eyes were on the Rooster. He was the dude to beat, and he was pretty good off the gate as well. The big 5 Honey getting up into a number 2 spot, but Emil van der Vesthuizen was the dude to beat. Certainly coming off the whole shot queue. Could he survive in clear air though throughout the rest of the day with a stacked gate of charges behind him? Talking of stacked gates, the OR2 Pro Ams gave us massive numbers, with Brad the Bullet Burrell getting his nose in front early on, but the elbows came out in turn 2, where Verena charged his new Husqvarna up and out to the inside. Those are the 2 banging bars for the title as well. It was all still to play for. A modest lineup of OR3s saw Verena Van Heerden getting it done inside of Timmy Blake and Janus Janssen. Janssen is the fast dude on this gate and showed it early on by on turn number 2, hitting the front and locking it in for the run. The ladies Pro Am gate was combined with the Pro ladies, and all eyes were once again going to be on Shady Grobler to see if she can walk away with the perfect season. She has been almost unstoppable. And on the WOW class, Stevie Pretorius bogged down off the gate, but would charge hard on the Kawasaki. It was all about James Dean Tyler off the front, and 2-time quad racing Q2 champion C.D. Gerson on the 2-wheelers for the first time ever. The terrain at Verena was spectacular, but there was still racing to be had. After locking down his second ever full Gxcc Q2 championship, CD swung a leg onto a 2-wheeler for the very first time and walked away with a creditable number 5 finish in his first time of asking on the wows. Up the road from him, the dude that came out of the gate firing hard on the beater, James Dean Tyler, dropping down off the whole shot from first place to record a number 4 finish. Stevie Pretorius, the dad of Jake the Snake, took the Pepsi Plastics Husky all the way to the podium for the first time. He got let off the leash and walked away with a number 3 spot. Ben Roof's Stratum was so good off the gate, super aggressive, and I think this is one of the guys that's going to move up into one of our Pro Am categories for next year. The C215 getting a number 2 finish, and very close to the pace of the eventual race leader. That was Steon Cummings, the W36, one of the older model KTMs, but certainly nothing lost in pace. The flag was out, and Gxcc has a new winner. In the Pro Am ladies, a small, modest field at the penultimate round of the series. Danelle Delport has shown consistent and fast pace the whole way through the season. She is inside of locking down a number 3 in the championship. Third place here shows exactly where she needs to be. Shelley Tyler, on paper and on the tracks as well, seems to be the only lady anywhere near the back wheel of Shady Grobler. Tyler, a potential podium threat and championship threat in 2022. Right now, second place. We'll see her still challenge for the second place in the series. But riding out of the CIT Franchise Co squad, Shady Krobler has been the find of the season. Not just winning out the majority of the Pro Am ladies gates, but also staying ahead of a lot of the Pro ladies as well. Can she go and have the perfect season? The winner coming out of Verena was Krobler ahead of Tyler and Delport, and in the Wows, Cummins ahead of Straden Pretorius, Tyler and CD Huison on a number 5 on a bike with just 2 wheels. Moving up into the main categories then, the OR3 Pro Ams, where we see a return to form for Albertine Pienaar. He has been a kid who has been something to watch for the last couple of seasons, focusing this year though on his schoolwork, but at the end of the season, starting to find his form once again inside of a number 5. We expect to see Albertine running inside the top 3 throughout 2022. Ben Jourdan was not too far up the road from him inside of a number 4. With Verena van Heerden trying to get the job done for a number 3. Pretty close and matched lap times throughout the top 5 in the OR3 Pro Ams. The top 2, though, were the class of the field, where Bernard the Satanhout has really been charging. The Vans Husqvarna Racing Pro has come good, certainly in the last couple of rounds of the championship, and seems once again to be the only rider on this gate to run anywhere near the back wheel of Janus Janssen. Remember, as with last season, if you win out and you are the champion in the Pro-Ams, you move up into the Pro categories. Janus Janssen certainly looking like a polished OR3 Pro rider now, as he once again takes the win in the OR3 Pro Ams at Verena. His pace, though, would have put him inside the top 7 on the Pro gate. Here's confirmation of Janssen on top ahead of Besatenhout and Van Heerden, with Jourdan and Pienaar rounding out the top 5, followed by Blake, Kutzer, Swart, Barwise and Smit. The big, scary field that is the OR2 Pro Ams, a very popular gate. Most of these guys running off a 350 4-stroke machine platform, or sometimes the guys are out there on 250 smokers. Lincoln Lutz is a stylish and classy rider to watch, almost looped himself out, but 5th place shows he is going to be on the money for next season. Nate Dogg, Nathan Godrich inside of a number 4, rock solid, always bringing home inside of a top 6. We'll see him standing on the top 6 points come the end of the season, no doubt. Gav Young has been coming on strong towards the end of the season, and once again will wave the flag as the top Yami rider. Like this guy's style big time. I think he's going to be a podium threat every round in 2022. Verena Nordia seems to have really come to life since he's gone full privateer, stepping off of one of the big squads, going full privateer, going out of his own back pocket, picking up a Husqvarna and coming good with a number 2 ride. But it is bad Brad Burrell who once again jams it all the way to the top step. He's going to be heading all the way to the Pro gate next year, so watch out. Burrell is coming in hot. Another checkers. Burrell, the man to beat, and no doubt one hand already on the trophy come the end of the season. Burrell beats out Nordia, Young, Godrich and Lutz, with Vessels, Versace, Elaine DeToy down in number 8, beating out on Jourdan and Chris Homser. And on to the big bangers. Remember this dude? He pulled the big hole shot coming out of the gate, chased down by the Rooster, and Emil van der Vesthuizen didn't drop too far back either, eventually walking away with a very good number 5 ride. Henk van der Merwe was up the road from him, trying to lay down all of that big power coming off the back wheel of his open category Pro-Am machine, walking away with a rock solid number 4 finish. Rowan to Blanche, he was waving the flag for the blue smokers. Remember, if it's a smoker on the big OR1 Big Banger gate, that means it is a 3 honey ringing the neck. Although, the bike did suit the more varied terrain out at Verena. Shane Nienaber gets his highest ever Gxcc Pro Am finish, coming off the OR1 gate. He walks away with the big number 2 spot. Not too good on the championship chase, but certainly coming to life in the last couple of rounds. And then Dennis van der Merwe backs up his win with another win. So van der Merwe is starting to make this a big championship fight. It really is between van der Merwe and the Rooster. Where was the Rooster? A flat tire on loop number 1, pretty much putting him out of the race. And he really had to knuckle down just to bring home some points. But it's van der Merwe on top in the big bangers, seeing the checkers once again. And it does go down in the championship to the final round. There's van der Merwe on top ahead of Nienaber to Blanche, van der Merwe and van der Westhuizen. And there in 10th place is the Rooster. The championship goes down to the final round in Carltonville. And that is Verena wrapped up in a bow. We get ourselves ready now to focus in on the final round, the finale, the 4th of December, Carltonville. We'll see you there. So as you can see, all of those championships are still yet to be decided. Not a single one has actually been able to put a number 1 plate on their bike, although 1 or 2 of the guys and girls are extremely close. Up next now, we can see that we've been working for the last couple of months, in fact almost 7 months, with Justin from Cycleworks. And this is the story of Cycleworks and how they do things a little bit differently to everyone else. Over to Justy. Justy, we're back in the workshop, the trusty workshop, and you're super busy. It's amazing to be this busy at this time of year. It's kind of a freak of the new world, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. I mean, all good. But yeah, we're super busy right now. We're really blessed. We got a lot of support from customers and things like that. So we're really happy about it. Busy time of the year as well. You know, you would expect it to taper off, but it doesn't seem to. It seems to just keep upping a notch. And I think the end of the year is going to be even more busier. You know what I mean?
You seem to be split into 2 halves at the moment, prepping or getting ready for people who have got their new 22s. Very jealous. A lot of people getting new bikes.
Yeah.
But a lot of clients are now starting to also go the other side of the coin, where they're refreshing older kits, and that's a lot of your work at the moment.
Yeah, you've got a lot of customers that are sending in, because, you know, we've had a lot of racing this year. You know, I mean, we do everything from the motocross to enduro, from off-road racing, Gxcc. So, you know, all these disciplines sort of mixed and blending to each other. So when you've got guys that are racing a motocross race, then we see the motocross suspension. And the next week it's Gxcc. Then the following week it'll be an enduro. So we're constantly overlapping in different disciplines of suspension flowing in as the races come. And the problem is, well, not the problem, the blessing is that we're having more races. You know what I mean? And they're going on longer in the year. So we see more suspension more often, you know. And then also guys are getting new bikes. They want to prep them, get new suspension, get them dialed, get them set up as quick as possible, because this is sort of the time of the year where everybody starts looking at new bikes, you know, new deals, you know, things like that, I mean, for the new season, and getting the new race bikes up to their standards.
The more I've been hanging out with you and learning more about the CW process, there's definitely a way that you actually approach your work, and you know, I suppose take us through the journey of stuff landing in the shop. Sometimes you get box fresh stuff, which is gorgeous, some nice Olands that you don't really have to touch too much, but then you get some horror shows, don't you?
Yeah, we do all sorts of suspension, you know, from suspension that doesn't get washed. We have to obviously wash it first before we work on it. And then you get suspension that's brand new, you know, which is always nice to work on, but nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. That's our job. So, well, we have a sort of a process, you know, when suspension sort of arrives by us, you know, I mean, we have a certain way of doing it. It arrives, gets tagged, labeled, named. We phone the customer when we start the job, see what they'd actually need, that needs to get done, fill in, make sure the requirements on the job card is done for them. And I mean, then we go through a stripped down process, you know, I mean, whether it's a shock or fork, gets cleaned up 100% clean, then it goes into a bin, and then it gets ready for prep. And in an unfortunate way from a customer's point of view, but unfortunately it just works that way, is that I work on everything. Mm-hmm. So I have cleaners, they clean, but I work and I prep and I assemble and I bleed and I whatever needs to be done, that suspension, I work on it. So every bit of suspension flows through my hands personally, from torquing a nut to machining a pin off, to polishing a shaft or a stanchion, you know what I mean, it goes through my hand. So unfortunately, timing is a bit of an issue sometimes, but we got good customers and they sort of understand that if you want me to work on your stuff, you're unfortunately going to have to wait a little bit. But I must admit, we have quite a good turnaround time. You know.
Tell me, I was chatting to you yesterday and you kind of touched on it just now, the peening. I asked you what was the weirdest or most gnarly thing that you found when you open up a shock. Peening, just describe that to me and tell me what the story is there.
Yeah, peening is something that a lot of customers aren't aware of. It's an engineering process where, especially on the Japanese bikes, the OEM would peen the end of the shaft so that the nut won't come loose in the shock. That could be devastating to the shock. So the problem is when you work on those shocks to actually get the peening off, there's a right way and there's a wrong way, and a wrong way would be, as a lot of guys grind it off. So they grind the nut, but then the worst thing they could ever do is actually reuse that same nut. It's half the size, it's ground off, the shaft gets a bit of damage, you know what I mean, and it's left with burring, and it's just very unsafe, and it can bite, you know what I mean, bite you as a workshop if you're doing it that way. The things that we do differently with peening is we run it in a lathe, we actually cut the peening off, we clean the shaft off, we make sure it's free from all burring, and we replace it with a brand new nut. So you always get a brand new lock nut that goes on the shaft. So it's just those small little things that we tend to be very, you know, we concentrate on quality, and it does take time, those things. But once you open the shock again, you'll see it's been done correctly and properly.
And that's why you get repeat clients, because after that, the servicing is a little bit smoother from that point onwards.
Yeah, obviously, because then we don't have to peen it, we don't have to remove peening again, and then we know it's done already, you know what I mean, it's done correctly. And we don't have to waste time doing those things. But at least we know the job is done correctly and properly. Yeah.
Just following on from one of our previous videos, one of the old projects, I think 2 projects ago now, we were out there at the track with Elaine. What was the feedback that you got from that project from Elaine himself, and how many people have been on you asking for the same service?
Well, it was good feedback with Elaine. Elaine is a good guy. He has good feedback. Elaine's bought Olin's, so obviously he's happy with what the results we supplied him. We had good feedback with other customers, so obviously our demo sort of setups have increased, whether it's motocross, enduro, and off-road. So customers must feel free to contact us regarding demos on the Olin's product. And we come out, they set the suspension up for their bike, discipline and what they're doing, and they're more than free, and it's free of charge, you know what I mean? It's something I just do for the guys, you know, that they can actually feel the better side of the world, you know what I mean, and understand what Olin's has to offer. So they're not always put at a point where you have to spend money first and then doubt whether you're getting the right product or you're getting the performance that you need. So you actually getting to test it first, feel the difference, and then you can go to bed and sleep at night knowing you've made the right decision. You know what I mean? That's the nice thing about the product.
So that's how things are looking over at Cycleworks. Remember, they're going to have loads and loads of stock happening. They had a massive roof special, and it looks like they're going to be having some crazy products and specials happening throughout Christmas and into the early part of 2022 as well. So do keep posted, and whatever Justy's got on the cards, we will be telling you all about it. For now, guys, we get ourselves ready for the final push. We'll report back next week on the roof of Africa, and we'll also tell you everything that you need to know about final round of Gxccs at Carltonville.